What's up, guys? It's Nick from P2W Fantasy. First video, actually, for the YouTube channel. Usually just pump out articles and link up with some guys with that and some polls, but tapping into the videos now, so hopefully this goes okay. But the topic of the day that I want to talk about was 100 reception seasons for fantasy purposes here. Coming off this past year, we had 5 guys record 100 receptions or more, which actually was a decrease in terms of what happened in 2018. There was 11 guys, so numbers went down as far as that goes, which will be interesting to see how 2020 and 21 will be in terms of if that number's going to go up or what the case is. But quick recap of who those 5 guys were that had 100 or more receptions in 2019. Michael Thomas had a ridiculous number, 149 receptions, and that actually comes with only 11 games of Drew Brees. So he didn't even have his quarterback for the whole season, even though Teddy is, starting quarterback nowadays on a different team. But still, 149 receptions is just a crazy amount for anybody to have. Number 2 was Christian McCaffrey, running back, 116 receptions. Just a PPR monster, and for some, he was a championship winner player last season. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins, which is interesting because he is going to be on a new team. So he had 104, and so did the guy after him. Keenan Allen had 104 as well. And 5th, Edelman hit that 100 mark on the dot. So those were the top 5 guys. So looking ahead to the coming season draws a lot of questions. Who will be one of those guys, one of those 100 catch guys? And I thought about that, and what I really came down to was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys again that I think truly will. And then I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are kind of on the bubble that I can see potentially getting to that mark, but are kind of maybe not so much of a sure thing. So let's say 5 I'm pretty confident in, and 4 I think are going to be close. So looking back to just the guys from last year, guys that I think I'm actually going to take off the list are 3 of these guys for sure, in my opinion. And I think one of those guys is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. I think the talent is outstanding. It's very good. The difference, though, is I don't know how that connection is going to be with Kyler Murray. A lot of people are very high on Murray. Great quarterback, second-year player coming in. But will he have the same kind of connection that Watson had with Hopkins? I think Watson didn't really have a ton of reliable targets over the past year or two, and Hopkins always was that guy. So with Murray, with the Cardinals, I can see them really implementing the run a lot. You got Drake, maybe Edmonds or Eno, also with a change of pace. Christian Kirk could have a good year. Not sure if Arnold, at tight end is going to be involved or not, but that's an option too. So I'm actually going to leave Hopkins out of the 100, but I can definitely see him being pretty tight to that. So he's one guy I'm leaving off. Keenan Allen, I don't think is going to have a 100 catch season. Whether it's Tyrod or Herbert, I think there's going to be a change of guard regardless, and some things are going to be different for that organization. So since he lost his quarterback and there's going to be a new kind of offense, I think he's going to be kind of left out of that 100 catch mark, but still should be relevant in fantasy in all of that. I also think Julian Edelman is not going to be close to that 100 catch mark. I think he is still going to be a good target for that organization. I'm sure Bill Belichick still loves the guy. I do think that N'Keal Harry is going to step up. Some people think he's going to break out. Maybe he will. I'm not entirely sure right now, but he will definitely be a guy to get some volume there now with that new offense. And not sure how Stidham's going to do. Maybe there'll be more of a run-heavy offense. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll soon see, but I don't think Edelman's in that 100 mark. So the guys, the 5 guys I do have are in no order. I'm not going to project what their catches are going to look like or the exact amounts. And again, this is going to be out of order, but definitely think Michael Thomas is still going to be a 100 catch guy. I would be shocked unless there was an injury, knock on wood, for his owners. If he wasn't at that, 149 completions from the quarterback, but catches from Michael Thomas this previous year, and I think Drew Brees is going to come out slinging to his guys. So definitely think he's going to be a 100 catch guy. Not sure he'll top 149, but definitely 100 for me. Another guy I have on my list is Robert Woods. Brandon Cooks is out of the system now. Cooper Kupp had a good first half of the season. He kind of dropped off in the second half, but I can definitely see Robert Woods stepping up that catch rate just because they did lose a receiver, and I'm not sure if it's going to be Reynolds or Van Jefferson is that third guy. So I think Robert Woods has a clear-cut chance to being a 100-target guy. Very consistent player. He's a good target for Goff. This past season he had 90 catches, so to say 10 more catches I think is very realistic for him. Another guy on this list, this guy only played 12 games this past year and had 83 catches. So do the math for what that sort of rate would have been. He definitely would have been a 100-catch player. That's Devontae Adams. I think Aaron Rodgers loves this guy. He has a lot of trust in him, and regardless of who steps up is at wide receiver 2, if it's Lazard or Funchess or somebody else that pops up. Maybe Sternberger gets some volume, but it's very clear and very certain that Rodgers is going to throw the ball to Adams a lot. So 83 this past year in only 12 games. He's definitely going to get to that 100 catch rate if he avoids any sort of injuries or setbacks like he did this past year. Another guy on my list, very high on, super high on actually, more than most people, but DJ Moore I'm going to put in that 100 catch list for 2020. I think he's a very reliable target. I think even with the addition of Anderson to the program and having a new tight end and Curtis Samuel, I still think that that offense is going to really obviously focus on making McCaffrey successful, but I think on the flip side, I think Teddy's going to be able to trust DJ Moore. He's got great talent, and 90 catches this past year. Definitely they can step up to that 100 catch mark or more. Last guy out of my 5 that I'm pretty confident in is Allen Robinson. I live in a suburb of Chicago, so obviously I'm a Chicago Bears fan, but Robinson was 98 catches this past year. 2 away from that 100 catch mark. I personally think that Foles is going to step up and be the quarterback. If it still is Mitch and he proves himself, power to him. I'm not sure, if Chicago is fed up or not with Mitch under center, regardless of where the finger should be pointed to in that offense. But Allen Robinson is just a stud. He's very consistent. He's very reliable. Anthony Miller stepped up this past year and had some breakout games, and I think the offense likes him as well. But I think Allen Robinson is just going to be their go-to guy, and he's going to get the volume. I don't know what's going to happen at tight end if Jimmy Graham is going to get enough volume, or if they really trust Cole Kmet right away. I don't know, but I do know that Allen Robinson is going to be a consistent target for that offense, and I can definitely see him having 2 more catches than last year, especially if they have a more reliable quarterback in Nick Foles, or their quarterback from last season really steps his game up. So it's something to think about, and I think he's a guy we can count on for 100 catches. The other few guys, I'll just talk briefly about them that are kind of on the cusp that I could see being a 100-catch sort of player, but I'm not as confident as the 5 I talked about. Christian McCaffrey, it'd be interesting to see if Teddy Bridgewater can produce 2 guys that catch the ball 100 times. since I already said DJ Moore, but last year McCaffrey had 116 catches. So even if he does regress in some aspects of his game, if he regresses by 16 catches and he's still at 100, that puts him in that category. It'll be interesting to see how Rule, is the new head coach, operates that program there. I wouldn't count on McCaffrey just because the talent's there. He's a phenomenal pass catcher. There you go. And I can definitely see him still being close to that 100 mark, if not still over it. Another guy, Julio Jones, had 99 catches in, I think, 15 games last year. And I think some people are kind of worrying about the age sort of thing and hyping up Calvin Ridley, which is understandable, and I agree with it. But I think Matt Ryan's going to have a good year. I think Julio Jones is still going to get an incredible volume. So to say that he will regress because of maybe Hurst and Calvin Ridley, maybe even a Russell Gage stepping their games up, could be a little understandable, but the guy is just an outstanding player, one of the best to ever play in the game at wide receiver. And I think 2020 he'll still have a big year. So he's actually a guy that I might slide into that more confident 5 that I had before. But I put him on the cusp just because I think Ridley will also have a ton of volume and step his game up. Not to the fact to overtake Julio, but it'll be interesting. So he's another guy I definitely can see having a 100-catch season. Two guys left. One guy is Kenny Golladay. I'm a huge Kenny Golladay believer. Led the league in touchdowns this past year without Stafford. Stafford only played in a chunk of games this year. I don't have that. But if we look at Matt Stafford in the past, 2018 he was 11th in passing attempts. The year before, 2017, he was 4th. So I actually can see Matt Stafford having a huge year for the Lions. I'm not saying, as a Bears fan, that the Lions are going to be this team that makes the playoffs or something like that. I wouldn't count out them having a good year, though. But I think Matt Stafford's going to throw the ball a lot. I think they're going to be tight in games or chasing some games. So Kenny Golladay only had 65 this past year. But I love the Kenny Golladay talent. I think that having a full year of Stafford instead of having like a Driscoll and whoever else is under center is going to be beneficial for a lot of guys. Marvin Jones, maybe if DeAndre Swift is a pass catcher, second year of Hawkinson. So I'm going to throw a dart on that one and say Kenny Golladay has 100 catches potentially next year. But again, more on the less confident side as those first 5 I talked about. Last guy I have is another guy I'm very high on is Austin Eckler. There's going to be a lot of question marks around who's going to be the quarterback this year and how they're going to perform. I can see Tyrod Taylor being there for a chunk of the season and then maybe shifting to Herbert. Maybe they start right away with Herbert. As a rookie quarterback, maybe they go a full season as Tyrod if they're performing well. I'm not sure, but what I am sure about is this past year, Eckler had 92 catches and had a phenomenal season. He was the RB4 in most leagues, and I think he just displayed a phenomenal catch rate ability, and he just is a great pass catcher. He lines up in different areas for that part of his game. So I think that offense actually is going to revolve around Eckler, despite what some people think. He balled out with Melvin Gordon in the past. Even this past season when he came back, he was still balling. So I think Austin Eckler is going to have another huge year. I'm actually overly high on Austin Eckler, but he's another guy on maybe the less confident side, but for me could potentially be a guy that can catch 100 balls. Only time will tell. So, again, 5 guys I'm pretty confident in for 100 catches, and then another 4 that kind of on the cusp for me. But, curious to what you guys think. So, this will get posted on Twitter. So, in the comments, if you want to destroy my take on some of this, that's completely fine. Hopefully, I'll bounce back. But if you guys have some strong opinions on guys you think will catch 100 balls in 2020, Drop it in the comments. Spread this one out, and let's get some people's takes on this. Thanks for listening, guys.